February 10th, 2026, 2:41 a.m. local time. Gulf of Oman. 63 nautical miles southeast of the Iranian port city of Chabahar. The USS Portland is running dark. Minimal emissions, navigation lights only. The San Antonio-class amphibious transport dock is escorting a 4-ship logistics convoy through one of the most dangerous stretches of water on Earth. 25,300 tons of American warship cutting through black water at 14 knots. A crew of 360. 15 Marines from the 11th MEU embarked. 2 MH-60S helicopters secured on the flight deck. Standard escort duty, but there is nothing standard about what the Portland is carrying. Bolted to her forward superstructure, behind armored panels that look like any other radar housing, sits a weapon that has never been fired in anger. The HELIOS, high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance. 60 kilowatts of directed energy channeled through a beam director the size of a refrigerator. Powered by the ship's own electrical grid. Cost per shot, roughly $10 in diesel fuel converted to electricity. $10. The weapon has been tested 147 times at White Sands. It has burned through drone airframes at ranges exceeding 4 kilometers in controlled conditions. It passed every qualification trial the Navy threw at it. But tonight is not a test. Tonight, 14 drones are already airborne, and they are heading straight for the convoy. I'm your host at Battlefront Signal, where we break down the most critical naval operations shaping global power. Today, we're covering a moment that defense analysts have been waiting for since the first laser was mounted on a warship. The first confirmed directed energy engagement against a hostile drone swarm in real combat conditions. Not a demonstration, not a controlled exercise off San Clemente Island with safety officers and pre-programmed targets. A real fight. In contested waters. Against weapons designed to destroy American ships. To understand why 14 Iranian drones were flying toward an American convoy at 2 in the morning, you need to understand what happened in the weeks before. January 2026, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy, the IRGCN, had been escalating provocations across the Strait of Hormuz and the Gulf of Oman for months. Fast boat intercepts, aggressive radar locks, drone surveillance flights that skirted just outside the 12 nautical mile territorial limit. The trigger was an American sanctions enforcement operation on January 19th. The guided missile destroyer USS Higgins intercepted a Comoros-flagged cargo vessel carrying Iranian-manufactured Mohajer 6 drone components bound for Yemen. The cargo included 16 guidance modules, 42 warheads, and encrypted communication kits matching Houthi operational frequencies. Tehran denied everything, publicly. Privately, according to communications intercepts later cited in the after-action report, Major General Hossein Salami authorized what IRGC planners called Operation Broken Compass, a series of escalating strikes against U.S. logistics convoys designed to demonstrate that American ships could be hit without a conventional military response. The plan was simple. Use cheap, expendable drones. Launch them from mobile positions on Iran's southeastern coast. Target supply ships, not warships. Create damage, chaos, and media coverage, then deny involvement. Phase 1 was surveillance. Between January 24th and February 8th, Iranian drones conducted 17 reconnaissance flights over the Gulf of Oman shipping lanes. They mapped convoy schedules, escort patterns, and radar coverage gaps. Phase 2 was the attack. February 10th, 1:15 a.m. A convoy designated TF-41 departed the port of Duqm, Oman, heading northeast toward the Pakistani port of Gwadar. 4 ships, 2 military sealift command container vessels carrying spare parts and ammunition, 1 fleet oiler, and 1 commercial contracted cargo ship. Their escort, the USS Portland. The convoy's route took it within 130 nautical miles of the Iranian coast. Close enough for shore-launched drones. At 1:50 a.m., a mobile launch unit concealed in a warehouse complex 14 kilometers south of Chabahar activated. The unit consisted of 3 modified flatbed trucks, each carrying launch rails for Ababil-pattern drones. Small delta-winged unmanned aircraft with a wingspan of 3.2 meters, powered by a rear-mounted pusher propeller, carrying a 40-kilogram fragmentation warhead. 14 drones launched in 4 waves over 9 minutes. They climbed to 200 meters, then descended to 30 meters above sea level. Wave-skimming altitude designed to stay below shipboard radar horizons as long as possible. Their flight profile was not random. The drones flew in a dispersed crescent formation, spread across a frontage of 11 kilometers. This was deliberate. A concentrated swarm can be engaged with area effect weapons. A dispersed formation forces defenders to track and engage each drone individually, overwhelming fire control systems through geometry rather than numbers. The formation was pre-programmed. No operator in the loop after launch. GPS waypoints to the convoy's projected position, then terminal infrared homing for the final 3 kilometers. The Portland's crew had no idea what was coming. At 2:17 a.m., the ship's AN/S PS-48E three-dimensional air search radar registered a contact. Then another. Then 5 more. The radar operator on watch, a second-class petty officer, stared at his screen. The contacts were faint, moving at 140 knots. Low altitude. Intermittent returns. The kind of signature you get from small composite airframes skimming the wavetops. He keyed his microphone. Tau, I have multiple low-slow contacts, bearing 035, range 41 nautical miles. Count, 7 confirmed. Possibly more. Flight profile consistent with UAVs. The tactical action officer, a lieutenant commander, was at the Portland's Combat Information Center in 4 seconds. Classification? No IFF, no transponder. Flight path originates from the Iranian coast. Bearing is constant. They're heading for the convoy. General quarters. The announcement hit at 2:19 a.m. Every light on the Portland switched to red. Hatches sealed. Damage control teams moved to stations. The weapons department powered up every system the ship carried. The Portland was not a destroyer. She did not carry SM-2 missiles or a 96-cell vertical launch system. Her conventional defensive weapons were limited. 2 RAM launchers, rolling airframe missiles, with 21 rounds each, 2 30mm Bushmaster chain guns, and 2 Phalanx CIWS mounts capable of firing 4,500 rounds per minute. But the Portland had something no other ship in the Navy had taken into combat: the HELIOS. Commander David Reeves, the Portland's commanding officer, arrived in CIC at 2:21 a.m. He assessed the tactical picture in under 30 seconds. Multiple inbound threats, convoy behind him. No air cover. The nearest carrier strike group was the Eisenhower, 400 nautical miles to the west. What's the HELIOS status? Powered and tracking, Captain. System is green across the board. Reeves made the call. Weapons free on HELIOS for all confirmed hostile UAV contacts. RAM and CIWS as backup. Nothing gets through to the convoy. At 2:27 a.m., the radar picture sharpened. 14 contacts confirmed. Bearing 035 through 070. Spread across a crescent 11 kilometers wide. Range: 19 nautical miles and closing. Speed: 140 knots. Time to convoy: approximately 8 minutes. The HELIOS operator, a fire controlman first class who had trained on the system for 11 months, locked the targeting reticle onto the lead drone. Range: 2.7 kilometers. The drone was flying at 28 meters above the surface, bobbing slightly with the wind shear over the Gulf. I have track. Bearing 041. Range 2,700 meters. Designating target Alpha 1. Engage. The beam was invisible. No flash, no sound, no smoke trail. Just 60 kilowatts of concentrated photonic energy traveling at the speed of light toward a composite airframe the size of a dining table. The effect was not instant. The laser held on target, the beam director making micro-corrections 40 times per second to keep the energy focused on a single point. The drone's left flight control surface. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3.2 seconds. The composite material superheated. The structural adhesive bonding the control surface to the wing spar failed. The left elevon deformed, then tore away in the slipstream. Alpha 1 pitched violently to the left. Without flight controls, the drone entered an unrecoverable spiral. It struck the surface of the Gulf of Oman at 140 knots and disintegrated on impact. No explosion. The warhead did not arm. It was still in transit mode, requiring terminal sensor activation that never came. Alpha 1, splash. Elapsed time from beam activation to target destruction, 3.2 seconds. Cost, approximately $10 in shipboard electrical generation. Subscribe if you want to see how the Navy responds to threats like this, because what happened next pushed this weapon to its absolute limit. The HELIOS slewed to the next target. Alpha 2. Range, 2.4 kilometers. Same altitude, same speed. The beam engaged. This time the operator targeted the drone's rear-mounted propeller hub, a more centralized aiming point. The prop shaft overheated in 2.8 seconds. The engine seized. Alpha 2 glided forward on momentum, losing altitude rapidly and hit the water 1.1 kilometers from the Portland's port beam. Alpha 3. Range 2.9 kilometers. The beam found the wing root. 4.1 seconds. The wing folded. The drone cartwheeled into the sea. Alpha 4 was harder. It had entered a patch of sea spray thrown up by a following swell. The moisture in the air scattered the laser beam, reducing delivered energy by an estimated 40%. The HELIOS held on target for 9 seconds before the fire controlman broke lock. Lost track on Alpha 4. Beam attenuation from atmospheric moisture. Redesignating. This was the problem no amount of testing at White Sands could replicate. The Gulf of Oman in February has sea states between 2 and 3. Swells of 1 to 2 meters generate spray plumes that hang in the air at low altitudes, exactly where the drones were flying. The laser's photons scatter off water droplets like headlights in fog. The operator moved to Alpha 5. Clean air. Range, 2.2 kilometers. The beam burned through the fuselage in 2.6 seconds, severing the internal wiring harness. The drone lost all electrical power and dropped straight down. The engagement continued. Alpha 6 destroyed in 3.8 seconds. Alpha 7. The tracking system lost lock at 1.9 kilometers when the drone executed a pre-programmed jinking maneuver. The system reacquired after 1.4 seconds and destroyed the target in 4.2 seconds total. Alpha 8 destroyed. Alpha 9 beam attenuation. The operator couldn't burn through the airframe before it passed inside minimum engagement range. At 2:38 a.m., 11 minutes after the first engagement, the HELIOS had downed 8 of the 14 inbound drones. 6 remained. 4 were inside the laser's effective engagement envelope, but obscured by low-altitude moisture. 2 had already closed to within 1.5 kilometers. Too close and too fast for the laser's tracking system to guarantee a sustained burn. Commander Reeves didn't hesitate. Shift to conventional. RAM and CIWS, weapons free. The 2 Phalanx CIWS mounts spun up simultaneously. The distinctive buzzsaw sound of tungsten rounds leaving the barrel at 4,500 rounds per minute echoed across the flight deck. Alpha 9 disintegrated in a cloud of fragments at 800 meters. Alpha 12, the drone that had skirted through the moisture screen on the Portland's starboard quarter, was shredded by the second Phalanx mount at 600 meters. The remaining 4 drones had spread further apart, now approaching from bearings separated by 30 degrees. 2 were heading for the Portland. 2 had veered toward the convoy ships behind her. RAM, engage bandits on the convoy track. 2 RIM-116. Rolling airframe missiles launched from the aft launcher. Each missile cost $998,000. They tracked infrared signatures at Mach 2. Both missiles found their targets. 2 drones vaporized. The escort destroyer USS Chung-Hoon positioned 8 nautical miles to the Portland's southeast, had been tracking the engagement. Her captain had already requested weapons-free authorization from 5th Fleet. At 2:40 a.m., the Chung-Hoon launched 2 SM-2 Block 3A missiles at the final pair of drones. The SM-2s were designed to destroy supersonic anti-ship missiles at ranges exceeding 90 nautical miles. Using them against slow-moving drones at 8 miles was like swatting mosquitoes with a sledgehammer. It worked. Both drones ceased to exist. 2:41 a.m. 14 drones launched. 14 drones destroyed. 0 reached the convoy. No American casualties. No damage to any ship. No injuries, no fires, no hull breaches. The convoy continued on course without altering speed. Total engagement time, 22 minutes from first radar contact to last target destroyed. The numbers told a story that would reshape naval procurement for the next decade. 8 drones destroyed by HELIOS. Cost, approximately $80 in electricity. Time, 11 minutes. 2 drones destroyed by Phalanx CIWS. Cost, roughly $12,000 in 20mm tungsten ammunition. 2 drones destroyed by RAM. Cost, $1.996 million. 2 drones destroyed by SM-2. Cost, $4.2 million. Total cost to defeat 14 drones, approximately $6.2 million. But without the HELIOS, every single drone would have required a missile. 14 engagements using SM-2 missiles alone would have cost $29.4 million. And the Chung-Hoon's magazine would have been 8 rounds lighter. Rounds that might be needed if a real anti-ship missile threat materialized. The laser didn't just work, it collapsed the cost curve. The after-action report, classified secret/no foreign, reached the Chief of Naval Operations desk within 72 hours. According to sources familiar with the document, the assessment was divided into 2 sections. Section 1 was titled Operational Validation. It confirmed what every directed energy advocate in the Pentagon had been arguing for 15 years. The HELIOS engaged and destroyed hostile targets in combat conditions. It did so at a fraction of the cost of kinetic interceptors. It demonstrated the ability to engage multiple sequential targets without reloading, and it operated within the ship's existing power grid without degradation to other systems. Section 2 was titled Capability Gaps. The report documented 2 critical failures. First, beam attenuation in the maritime environment. The HELIOS could not maintain lethal energy on targets obscured by sea spray at altitudes below 40 meters. In sea states above 3, which covers the majority of open ocean conditions, the system's effective engagement zone shrank dramatically. Second, the tracking system lost lock twice during rapid target transitions. The beam director, designed to hold a precise aim point on a moving target, could not reacquire fast enough when switching between widely separated contacts. Against a more concentrated swarm, or against faster targets, those lost seconds could mean a drone getting through. The weapon worked. The weapon had limitations. Both statements were true. The diplomatic aftermath was predictable. Tehran denied launching any drones. State media called the incident American propaganda designed to justify military presence in the Gulf of Oman. The IRGC released a statement claiming all Iranian naval forces had been conducting routine exercises in territorial waters. Satellite imagery confirmed otherwise. Commercial satellite passes over Chabahar on February 10th and 11th showed vehicle tracks leading to and from the warehouse complex south of the city. Thermal signatures consistent with drone launch rail exhaust were visible. The launch site had been abandoned and partially demolished within 48 hours of the engagement. The United States did not respond militarily. The White House issued a statement acknowledging a hostile drone engagement against U.S. naval forces and called for Iran to cease provocative actions. No retaliatory strike was ordered. Behind closed doors, the calculus was different. According to Pentagon sources, the decision not to escalate was directly tied to the engagement's outcome. The drones had failed completely. Every single one was destroyed. No American asset was damaged. Retaliating against Iranian territory would have elevated a tactical failure into a strategic crisis. The message was delivered through diplomatic backchannels. The Americans did not need to bomb Chabahar. The result spoke for itself. Like this video if you want to see more breakdowns of next-generation weapons in real combat. The strategic implications extended far beyond a single engagement in the Gulf of Oman. For 2 decades, the U.S. Navy had been struggling with a mathematics problem. Adversaries, Iran, the Houthis, Chinese-backed proxies, were producing cheap drones and missiles faster than the Navy could afford to shoot them down. A $50,000 Ababil drone, forcing the expenditure of a $2.1 million SM-2 missile, was not a weapons exchange. It was an economic attack. The HELIOS engagement inverted that equation for the first time. 8 drones destroyed for $80 proved that directed energy could make cheap threats meaningless. Not expensive to defeat. Essentially free to defeat. Within weeks of the classified report's circulation, Congress accelerated funding for the next-generation 150-kilowatt laser program. The Navy's directed energy roadmap, previously scheduled for fleet-wide deployment by 2032, was advanced to 2029. 4 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers were designated for HELIOS installation during their next maintenance cycles. The technology arms race had shifted. Building more drones was no longer a guaranteed strategy for overwhelming American defenses. If every drone cost the defender $10 to destroy, the swarm loses its economic logic. But the capability gaps mattered too. A laser that cannot shoot through sea spray is a laser that cannot be relied upon in the North Atlantic, the South China Sea during monsoon season, or the Norwegian Sea in winter. The Pentagon's classified assessment was blunt. HELIOS was a complement to kinetic defense, not a replacement. The USS Portland continued its escort mission without further incident. The convoy reached Gwadar on February 12th. The Portland returned to Bahrain for maintenance and data extraction from the HELIOS engagement logs. The fire controlman who had operated the laser during the engagement was awarded a Navy Achievement Medal. Commander Reeves received a personal commendation from the commander of 5th Fleet. The warehouse complex south of Chabahar was never used again. Satellite surveillance showed it had been bulldozed flat by February 20th. And in the Pentagon, in a windowless conference room on the E-Ring, a briefing slide went up on the screen that would be shown to every flag officer in the Navy over the following month. It contained one line. February 10th, 2026. First confirmed combat engagement of a directed energy weapon against hostile targets. USS Portland, Gulf of Oman. 14 targets, 8 laser engagements, 0 U.S. casualties. Below it, a cost comparison chart. One column, $29.4 million for missile defense. The other column, $6.2 million total. The laser engagements, $80. Nobody in the room needed it explained. Comment HELIOS if you think directed energy is the future of naval defense. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the channel where we break down the operations that rewrite the rules of modern warfare. Stay locked in. More is coming. The Gulf of Oman is quiet tonight. The Portland is back in Bahrain. The HELIOS is powered down, waiting. But the data from February 10th is still being analyzed. Every second of laser engagement, every moment of beam attenuation, every tracking failure. Because the next swarm won't be 14 drones, it might be 40, or 100. And when that day comes, the Navy wants the beam to hold.